Hey guys, it's Coach Jensen. I'm back here in Coach's Kitchen. I'm bringing you guys another highly anticipated episode. I know it's been a long time since I've put out some content. Now that the winter months are upon us, I'm going to give you guys a great meal to help you boost your immune system and stay healthy through the winter. Speaking of staying healthy in these cold months, I've got a beautiful chai tea latte that my wonderful wife, Mrs. Coach Jensen, made for me. We're going to give it a little taste test right now. Very hot, but very delicious. All right, guys, my main source of protein is going to be some Alaskan sockeye salmon. I prefer wild caught over farm raised. I think it's a lot healthier for you and healthier for the environment. But this is a great source of protein, healthy fats, and nutrients all around. I'm going to be making some asparagus today, some Japanese sweet potatoes, which I actually tried for the first time earlier this week. They're pretty good. Some sunflower sprouts, some golden organic bell peppers that I got at the farmer's market, an Anaheim chili pepper that I also got at the farmer's market, and something really cool that I've never tried before, really excited about. This is called a red curry squash, Kuri. This is something I've never had before that I picked up at my local farmer's market over the weekend, so I'm really excited to try this and see how it is. And then also be having a little bit of garlic bread to go with it. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is get started with this red curry squash. Like I said, this is something that I've never cooked before, so we're going to see how it turns out. So I'm going to take a big knife, I'm going to cut this top off. I'm going to cut this bottom piece off. And I'm going to cut it in half right down the middle. Okay. This is what it's looking like inside. A lot of seeds in there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a spoon and scoop some of these seeds out. All right, so I'm just going to grab a spoon, kind of scoop out these seeds. One really nice thing that I've heard about this red curry squash is that the skin is edible, so you don't have to worry about taking the skin off, but the seeds are not edible. So you want to get all these seeds out so we can get to the flesh part of the squash here. All right, guys, I've got the squash all hollowed out, got all the seeds out of there, so that's what it's going to look like. And now I'm just going to cut this into slices here. I want them to be about this big, maybe even smaller. I think I'm going to cut this one in half actually, just so they don't take a super long time to cook. Yep, and they're just going to be little slices like this. Alright guys, so I've got my little squash slices here. I've got some parchment paper and they're on a baking sheet. So now I'm going to put some stuff on these and then we're going to pop them in the oven for about 30 minutes until they're done. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to put on here. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is drizzle them with some olive oil. That's a little more than I wanted. All right, so I got some olive oil on there. Kind of moved it around so the olive oil is all over all of them. I'm gonna get my salt shaker, my little R2-D2. We're gonna take just some regular black pepper. I usually like the coarse ground pepper, but we've got some fine ground today, which will be just fine. No pun intended. And then the secret ingredient is going to be some maple syrup. So I've got the 100% maple syrup from Costco. And this is just going to bring a little sweetness, nice rich flavor on there. Maple syrup really reminds me of my my grandparents, because my grandma and grandpa used to make maple syrup every single year. So this will be probably the first year that they haven't done it in a really long time, as Grandma Brown passed away this year. All right, next we're gonna get this asparagus ready. So we've got a nice little bundle here. I'm gonna just rinse it off real quick. All right, now that we've got it rinsed off, just gonna cut the ends off, leaving about this much. Then we're gonna put it in our baking pan. We're gonna hit it with a little olive oil. Some salt and pepper. And we'll wait until the squash is about halfway done before we throw that asparagus in the oven. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is get these Japanese sweet potatoes ready. So when I cut into these earlier this week, I was really surprised to see the inside is really white with this outer shell. I was kind of expecting the inside to be, you know, a little bit reddish or purplish, but really nice and vibrant white in there. So definitely a big contrast. These sweet potatoes are pretty good. You know, they're not too different from any other sweet potato that I've had, but I got these at the Asiana market last weekend, and I thought that they're pretty cool. So we're gonna be cooking these up tonight. And we'll just kind of cut the ends off, or any spots, you know, that don't look super great. Might be sprouting a little bit or have something that you maybe don't want to consume, like that part. I'd rather just cut that off and get it out of there. I've got these sweet potatoes in the pan now. I'm gonna put them in with a big spoonful of organic grass-fed butter. Any sort of regular butter would do. Ghee is just kind of like a clarified version of butter that I like to use. I got this big container here at Costco. And then I'm gonna put them in with some avocado oil as well. If you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you know how I feel about avocado oil. I think it's the superior oil out there. Definitely a lot better for you. And you can cook at high temperatures with it. So I'm just gonna saute these potatoes, you know, get them a nice little golden brown, and then I'll add these peppers in when the potatoes are getting pretty close to being done here. All right, so I just put that red curry squash in the oven. It's at 425. We're gonna go for 15 minutes because that should be about halfway done, and then we'll flip it over and pop in the asparagus with it. All right, we've got the garlic bread ready. So I just cut it into 8 slices, put a little butter on each side, and now I've got it ready to pop in the oven whenever there's some space available. All right, timer's going off, which means this squash has been in for 15 minutes. It should be about halfway done. Pull it up. That syrup smells good. Gonna flip it all over. I'm gonna go ahead and put my asparagus in the oven. Get that cooking. And then we'll check back in. All right, these potatoes are just about done. I like to get mine nice and brown and crispy. So we're starting to get a little bit of golden brown showing up on these. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my peppers in, and we'll just saute them all together here. All right, so I got my potatoes and my peppers here. Pretty close to being done. Threw a little garlic in there with them for some flavor. You can see the peppers are starting to soften up a little bit. Potatoes are starting to get nice and brown and crispy. So we're gonna put half of these sunflower sprouts in here with them when they're pretty much done cooking. And then we'll get that off and open up the pan for the salmon. All right, guys, I've been busy the last couple minutes doing a quick little check-in now. So I got the potatoes, the sunflower sprouts, and the peppers off the stove. Divided them into 4 little to-go containers, 2 little plates for tonight. Just pulled out the asparagus. It's looking like it's pretty much ready to go. I might put it in for like, 1 more minute just to get it crisped up a little bit. The squash looks ready, but I took a knife to it. Still got a little bit of firmness, so I'm gonna put it back for a couple minutes just so it can soften up a little bit. Got the salmon ready. Got a little salt and pepper on there so that blackness is. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it on this and start frying it up. And then we'll get that bread in the oven as well. All right, for the salmon, you wanna get this pan nice and hot with some avocado oil on there. And you wanna get it hot enough where when the salmon goes on, you hear a little sizzle for sure. Oh yeah. Oh man, so I don't know if you guys will see that on the film or not, but set that last piece of salmon in there and splashed up some super hot grease onto my hand. Got a little bit of my pants. Oh man, gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. Just flip that salmon over. You can see that black pepper crusted to the top. Got the garlic bread, flipped it back in there. Man, that's looking good. It'll be done in about a minute. Just put a little bit of garlic on top of the asparagus. Got it rocking. And the squash is out. Really excited to see how that tastes. I'm gonna wait till the whole meal's ready to do the taste test. All right, guys, the meal's pretty much coming together. So that salmon was in big chunks, and I just kind of chopped it up with the spatula as I started getting done. You can see it's all pretty much cooked through. The salmon will change color from like that really deep pink that it was, and it'll get kind of this opaque, like light pink type color when it's finished cooking. That's how you can tell it's done. I like to get mine nice and crispy, so you can see there's some pieces of skin in here. Man, I like the skin. The skin is good for you. It's edible. You can definitely eat it. Some people like it, some people don't. I feel like if you get it nice and crispy, the skin is really good. If it's still a little soft and slimy and stuff, it's not the greatest, but I really like it when it's crisped up here. And then we'll go down. We got the asparagus just finishing up. Looks like it's got about a minute left, and then we'll get that out of there, and then we'll plate it up and do the taste test. All right, guys, now the moment you've all been waiting for, the taste test. So this is what the plate presentation is looking like. Got some salmon, some asparagus. I've got my potato and pepper medley, my squash, and a couple delicious looking pieces of garlic bread. So the first thing I'm really excited to try is this squash. Remember, we baked it with some maple syrup on there. So really interested to see how this turns out. It does have a nutty flavor. And that little maple syrup on there really brings out the sweetness. Wow, this is really good. I hope I can get my hands on another one of these. This is actually the first time I had ever seen a red curry squash before. I really like that a lot. Let's go with the asparagus. Got a little salt, pepper, garlic on there, olive oil. Very good. Honey, what do you think? Smell good? Looks like it passes the smell test. The salmon. Delightful as always. So this is a really good meal. It did take me a long time to make. It was about an hour and a half of work that I put into this. But the good news is we're gonna get 6 meals out of it. So Mrs. Coach Jensen and I will enjoy a delicious dinner now. And then we've got 4 meals packed that we can take for lunches to work. So overall, I'd say it was time well spent. Definitely good to get some micronutrients in. Just really boost up the immune system in this time. And until next time, stay happy, stay healthy. We're out of here.